Thank you for that, Z. Oh my god, I've been sitting here talking to myself this whole time. Oh, it's a day. So, we'll start over. Alright, so, I did a little changes to the fact that I previously, when I had this portfolio, none of the style was loading. The image wasn't loading. The CSS files weren't loading. But turns out that I had just simply forgot to expose the CSS and the images files to be permit all without needing to be logged into. Because by default, we told it that any other requests aside from these ones are going to require authentication. So even trying to get into our resources folder to access our CSS files would require there to be a logged in user. This was something that was just poorly missed by myself last night. I was very overtired when we were doing this. Not promising that I'm not very tired right now, however, we're going to give this a go. I do have caffeine. So now that we have exposed the CSS and the images files, once we run the program, we now see that we have an image loading, which is just a temporary logo until I get some funding together to pay my graphics guy to make me a proper Glad Studios logo. The header up here is supposed to be a few pixels big here, and it's supposed to be a black bar that stretches the width of the screen. However, for some reason, that file does not want to, this header file does not want to access the style sheet, or seeming to access the boot style sheet when I tell it a nav bar. It is supposed to be a black bar that is coming across the entirety of the screen. It is what it is. Apparently it's not loading it. That being said, it's also looking to see if there's any sort of security or logged in profiles in order to provide extra options like database. So now I don't know exactly why this is not loading. It's going to have to be something I'm going to have to look up a little later. It seems a little odd to me. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see. 'Cause if we do this and then go to inspect and we try to take a little pokey here and see what up. If we go into the console, certain logins are not being registered. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know what's up. It's not even telling me here, really. Because this top nav bar should be pulling from a CSS file, but for some reason it's not loading said CSS file. Yeah, there's just not loading resources, blocked by client. It's not. Double click, that's just Google Ads. Google double click, the embedded player, that's to do with. It's like, I don't know, I gotta have to dig into that later. But if you click on OSBY, we're going to have that take you to another page. Runiverse is going to take you to another page. That'll take you to another, that, and that. These are going to be other pages that we're going to be building on here. But for now we have just the simple, straightforward index page. And now if we were to do something if we were to try to go ahead and where the hell are we going? Header. Alright, we're gonna copy the index page here. And we're gonna drop this one here in to be osby.html. And now we're going to be taking the image out of this boneyard image. Again, sticking that across the top. We're going to be sticking another image. Just grab that image. I'm going to drop this image in here. Sure, we'll add it, why not? Alright, so now instead of a video here, or an iframe, we're going to get rid of that. And in here we're going to stick in a well, I'm going to make this be an image, but I want to make it so that the image is going to link to a Discord channel. So, well, first off, this is going to drop this up here above the flex, and this is oh my god, Mike. Welcome to Old School Boneyard. And we'll stick a little bone. Drop a little bone in there. Everybody likes a little bone. Drop a little laptop in there. Cool. So now we're gonna stick in an attribute here. This is going to be of class navbar brand. Navbar brand. It's going to be a Discord link. This is just something I'm calling it for now. Deflex and justify it. I don't even think I need to, but I will. Fuck it. Just for measurement purposes. Href is just going to be a straight up pound sign. And the thref is going to be that of always do that. Okay, and that'll wrap up fast. So this is going to be the link that we're going to be sending people to. I'm using my own invite link here for Discord. This is going to be the link that when somebody clicks on the image, that's where they're going to be taken to. Now, next thing we need to do is make an image tag. Source is going to be images slash, no, that's not what I do with this, to call the image static. static slash images slash image.ping. Okay, yeah, it's the right one. Big image. Okay. So now I need to set this image's width and height, because right now currently it's pretty fucking large. So we're just gonna make the width equal to 90%. Oh my god. It's gonna be equal to 90%. And the height is also going to be equal to 90% of its image. I need to set the TH source equal to images slash image.png. And just for good practice, we're going to make this a logo, so we'll go ALT, and this is just the alt text that's going to come up for the image. So if the image happens to not be there, this text will display, which is just simply going to be Boneyard logo, or technically image. I don't know. Alright, so there's that. And next, down here, this part I pre-wrote out because it sort of describes the game, so it was a little bit easier for me to type it out ahead of time. There we go. So this should give the... There we go. Let's go back to our header for a class, because this is going to be /OSBY. So now we have to go back into here, and this is going to start to get kind of big here, so I'm going to drop this into a little neater of a package. This is going to be OSBY, and again I'm doing this because I want there to be no issues. User profile. Sorry, I'm just closing a few things out. Alright, so we need to go into the web, into the sitemap controller, and we're basically going to be doing the same thing as this. So we're just going to copy and paste that, drop it down here. This is going to be reknown as OSBY, and basically the same thing is going to be done up here. This is just going to be /OSBY. So now get OSBY page. There we go. So now we're going to stop, drop, and rerun this. And when we do, we should have 2 pages. So we should be able to come here to our, we'll call this our home page for now, for all intents and purposes. And then if we go to Boneyard, okay, so the image could be a little bit bigger, but you'll see, you get the gist of the idea here. Now we have a second page. We have the home, so people can check out the home page, get to know who I am as a developer, sort of like a cover letter, if you will, or like a whatever. Next is the sorry. Next is the is the Boneyard page. After this, we'll be building a Runiverse page, a page for IRPG, and they're just going to basically be redundant things. So I might do that off stream and just do like an actual video of just showing it off, I guess. Because I'm not going to sit here and bore you with the same redundant thing 4 or 5 times over. You've seen me build the initial page in the first video. Took me just seconds to essentially build a second page. I am going to be looking into that fucking issue up here as well, because that kind of bothers me. Kind of bothers me that my thing's not working. But once we build the login system, that will more or less fix itself. However, I do need to fix it for when nobody's logged in. Not gonna lie, having a kind of a hello there, welcome to the stream. Just building a rough portfolio here. We spent our first stream building the entire back end of said page, where we've set up a controller a sitemap controller so that we can load our pages. We've built a home page, which is essentially the index.html. We're using fragments to make things easier because we only built the header once, and then we're just essentially copying it over as we go. Although I have not built these yet, I'm just going to add these pages in here just to get them done with. So this is now going to have all of the pages done, so the header will work as expected for what we're doing. We're going to build a footer as well to go on the bottom of the page, which is just simply going to contain some links like my LinkedIn, my GitHub, my Discord, my personal profile for Discord, just some basic footer links. Maybe I might stick in a copy right there, but that's going to be a footer that we'll build later, basing it basically just off of the header that we built in the first video. Just give me one quick second here. Alright, sorry about that. So yes, if you haven't seen the first live stream, I advise you to, or I urge you to, check it out. So we built most of this to begin with. This project itself, I can't exactly promise that I'm going to be putting this on GitHub. Like, I might. I'm sort of on the fence about it. Like, I want to put it up onto GitHub, just because of everything that's going to be in it. It'd be nice to sort of have other people build their own thing from mine, and I personally think that'd be kind of cool. But for now, I'm not planning on having this, I'm not planning on having this open sourced, but who knows? I also didn't plan to be making more than one video, and here we are. So I guess the next thing we're looking to do is to make a registration page. Let me just have a look here for a minute. Okay. Bear with me just for a moment. I'm just trying to... I really did not have a whole hell of a lot of time to prepare myself for this live stream. So, what are we building? Registration form and do I want to build a custom login page, or do I want to just use Spring? I think it'll be just simple enough to use Spring's registration. Like, we can... I mean, it's not that hard to do. We can do it crazy simple, I suppose. No, why not? Fuck it. Let's do it. Alright, so... Get out of the web security for now. Index. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Alright, so let's copy our index. This is going to be a register. I'll make this a register just because whatever. I'm going to leave the Boneyard logo on the top for now because essentially I want people to so I'm going to be changing that out to my own, my other logo once I get it made. Close up that, close up that. Get rid of that. Flex, no. No, this one here we want this, because we're going to have this so that there's going to be the logo across the top, right beneath it, welcome to Glave Studios registration, and then I'm going to have sort of a I'm going to be making some kind of a thing where I'm going to ask people for a display name, or like a username, give me an email, enter a password, and enter the password again. So that's what, 4 fields, and I'm going to have 2 buttons, one to cancel, one to register. Oh, sorry. So yeah, we're gonna need 2 buttons, 4 fields. It's gonna be a post method. We're gonna have to make a data transfer object for it, which is just gonna be a registered user or a new user, depends on how I call it, what I want to call it. We're going to have to pass that into our web page as a model. We have to add in a model attribute of a new user, which is going to be just a straight up data transfer, data transfer object, or a POJO. You'll get more of an idea of that when I go along and do it, and I'll explain a little more as I do it when I do it. But generally, we're going to be creating a Java object, or like might even be a record, I don't know, depends on how I feel. But it's going to be essentially just containing a username, a raw, plain, just straight up password, no encryption or anything yet. It's going to have an email address, a username, a plain text password. Then we're going to make a post request to our backend, which is going to then attempt to take that model that we just created with the data transfer object, and we're going to attempt to check to see if that username already exists, if a user already exists with that username. If so, we're just going to return back an error. Otherwise, if not, we're going to proceed to use this information to then create a new user profile, at which point we will be encrypting said password. And then we will return that we've created a new user. That way, when we make our login page, we're then just going to encrypt the password that the user provides when they log in. They're going to give us a username and password to log in. We're going to look for the user based on the username, and then once we find a user that exists with that username, we're going to encrypt the password that the user provided, and we're going to compare the two strings, or the encrypted passwords, to see if they match. If they do match, boom, successful login, we're good to go. If they don't match, that's when we return an error saying that, invalid credentials or whatever the hell. So, to kickstart all that, or to start out with doing all that, we are going to build something just straight up and easy. It's going to be a forum, I believe it is. Yeah, form. So, ooh. Sorry about that. So first and foremost, let's make this, we want this all to be centered. So we're going to make this a class of a container, and we're also then going to align Jesus. Line content. Center. And now we're going to come in here. We're going to make a form. The form is going to have the action. We're just going to have this as a pound symbol because the Thymeleaf action is going to be the URL that we're going to be making this post to. th object. This is going to be the name of the object that we are going to be taking in, and the method that we're doing with this is a post method. Alright, so now the object that we're taking in is going to be that of a new user, and I'm just going to call it that now for the moment because I can't think of anything else to call it, to be just quite blunt. And this is going to be making a post request to our API. I guess I should, so backslash, so it's going to be localhost / we're going to call it API version 1 registration new user, and that's about what we're going to call it. So now when we create that endpoint, we're just going to simply make a post mapping that is going to accept a body that is going to be equal to that of a new user, which is going to be something that we're going to pass in just a moment once we write the registration page. So I mean, to keep this somewhat simple, I could just add centered labels for username, email, password, and yada yada. Let's see how that looks, I suppose. So alright, so trying to remember how to do this with Thymeleaf. Some of the things are different than others, like the $sign and the asterisk and whatnot. But so we're gonna make a label. Oh, fuck off. It's that kind of day. Making a label. And this is going to be for an input. The type is going to be text. Type is text. The placeholder text is going to be user name. Now I'm gonna stick a style on this, I guess. Style, I want the width to be 160 pixels, because I don't want it to be something that's overly long. And I also want the text to be centered inside of it, because I happen to like centered text. I don't know, maybe it's my OCD. Alright, so the TH field. Now, what the TH field is, this is going to be the, and we're going to do, because we're setting a field, we're using the asterisk because we're looking to tell it that we're looking to define or set a value inside, or a field inside of said object that we're using. Said object is the new user, so in this case this would be something like username, if I can type right, username. And next one down here is going to be, we're just going to call this, I guess, email. This is going to be email. We're going to have password being password. Retype pass. I'm just going to call this repassword. So there. So now this is going to take the this is going to take in the information here to build, and we'll build a JavaScript later that's going to define, or that's going to make sure these fields are make sure that these fields are entered. Or we could get all fancy and just simply add one word to it. I mean, I'm not really that against writing JavaScript, but I mean, essentially when I can just write one word, yeah, I'm taking that option. I'm lazy. Not saying I'm a lazy developer, but I do put a lot of time and effort into my projects and care, but for something like this, I'm not that worried. But now we just gotta simply type in one word. Required. So now what this does is it makes sure that we cannot hit the submit button on the form without actually having entered these required fields. So these required fields are going to be those ones that have the little star next to them when you're looking at a form, that more or less mean you have to fill this in, or else you cannot sell your soul to the devil. So next down here where we want what do we want? We're gonna make a button of type submit. Class is going to be button, and it's going to be a button primary. Button primary. And this is going to be register. Now that's going to more or less, why is there a comma there? Why did I put that comma there? Oh my god. Okay, so this is going to then add that register button at the bottom of the page. so that people can just simply click on it, and that will submit their details off to the endpoint here. So this will take this new user object and it will populate it with this information, to which at that point it is going to yeah, we'll have a register button to hit to fill out and click and yada yada yada. Now sorry. So next after this, we just need to create said. We're gonna have to create said object, which is going to be just the user credentials. So let's close out of our resources for now. Go up into our data. The user, we have a user profile, but now we're going to be using transfer objects, or DTOs. So I'm going to just make in here a just quick file called DTO, or folder called DTO, so that we can come into this, create a new Java class, and make this our user credentials. Alright, so this will be our user credentials DTO, and in here is what we're going to be using, what we did on our registration form, just so that we have these fields. What was I calling them? Alright, so let's wait quick. We are making a few strings. These are all going to be strings. How many strings is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be private string, and that's all we need. So we're going to have username, email, password, and repassword. Okay, now we're gonna need a getter for this so that it's gonna be easier for us. So now, how do we take this and how do we pass that in? Let's go back to our sitemap controller. This is just going to simply be more or less another one of these. regist, register, get registration page. And model down here we're looking to we're looking to create a new user object, which is going to be a new registration. Gee, what the fuck did I call that? User credentials. User credential DTO. Alright, so now we gotta go with model dot add attribute, and the name of the attribute, it was new user, and we're passing in the, well, technically speaking, I don't even need to create that variable. I can just stick this in here, do that, clean that up, and we're good to go. Boom, 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 boom. So now, if we go back into our register.html page, we are looking for something called a new user. In our sitemap controller, we're taking this model and we're going to add in a new user, exactly as we are expecting the name to be there. And this is going to be a user credential DTO, which is going to hold the username, email, password, and repassword. So now essentially when we go to our localhost / register, we are going to open up the register.html page with this new user credential. So I am just going to take a quick little coffee break, just to top up the fluids, and then we're going to take a look and see what the registration page looks like before we dive in and create the endpoint that will accept that post request. And once we create the endpoint that's going to accept the object and the request, we're going to create the service layer that is going to be accessing the data layer of our application. So stick with me. I'm not going to be very long. I'm just going to top up the old coffee tank, and I am diabetic, so I am going to be taking some insulin right quick. I will be back in just a moment. I really appreciate your patience, and if you're liking this so far, please hit that like button. But I will be back in just a moment. Alright, thank you very much for waiting with me, guys. I am back, and let's have a look-see. Let's give this a reboot. Alright, now that that's loaded, let's go to... Oh, we're not 8080. Alright, and if we try to go to... We're gonna get hit with a login page. Yeah. So we're gonna come back here, we're gonna go to this, we're gonna copy paste that, and we're gonna go to registration. As well as technically we're also giving it API version 1. For now, we'll do that just because, and we'll add some extra security-ish layers into that later. But let's rerun this so that we can actually get into registration. Is it registration or register? Register. Fuck. God damn it, Mike. Alright, let's rerun that again. I apologize, guys. Oh, fuck me. Alright, so slash register. Look at that, we got a bit of a registration thing. These should be on individual new lines, not quite just like that, but I'll take it for now. Those should be broken off into individual lines, kind of like a top-down list. However, apparently I have them going in a more of a laid out way. Whoops. Alright, let's take care of that, I suppose. Register. I don't know. Slap a break on either one of these, I suppose. Does that give me the desired effect? Roughly, yeah, okay. Sorta, kinda. Now I could add technically a cancel button in there as well. That would just simply take you back to the home page. That is another option as well. But I just for now want to make sure that it's the way that I expect it. So, next we're gonna need to go over and make that endpoint now, I suppose. So this is where we're going to start building our RESTful API. So here we're going to be, if you look on our left here, we're going to be stepping away from the data layer. We're not going to be in the web layer, we're going to be more in the just controllers. So we're going to create a new package. This is going to be controllers, or yeah, controllers. And inside of here we're going to add in things such as the registration controller. Now the registration controller is going to be, get over here, is going to be a REST controller. It is going to have a required args constructor, as well as a request mapping, which we're going to start this bitch out with slash API version 1 registration. If I spell that right. And I think that was what I was calling that. Register API version registration. Yep, and then new user. So now we're going to come down here and we're going to make a post mapping for a public void register new user. And technically this is not going to be a void, this is going to be a response entity. And this response entity is going to be that of a string. This is a post mapping. The post mapping is going to be that of new user. We are going to be making a request body. It's going to be requesting that this has a body of user profile. There we go. User credentials. Alright, so now here's where we have created this new endpoint, this new request mapping of so we're going to have localhost / or domain / API / VI version 1 / registration / new user, and it's going to take only post requests. So if it's not a post request, it's going to give you a 400 error that you're not using the right, post method, get method, request method, not allowed. Otherwise, if it's post mapping, we're going to do a quick check to make sure that this is not null, because if it is null, we're going to want to return to the user that the request is bad, or bad request. So, if objects.is null, and of course if you don't do that inside the brackets, it's not going to be right. So if the user credentials is null, return new response entity. We're not returning any sort of string. We could for our own purposes, but we're going to go with the status of bad request. Or actually, we'll tell no content. Okay, yeah, we'll go with bad request. Bad request, and we'll be nice and actually give a return saying that there is no body in this request. So else, if there is, then we're going to want to go into a registration service, and we are going to want to check to see if this user even exists. If this user already exists, then we're going to return with already reported, and we'll say that this user already exists. So this is where we need to do a couple of things now, because now we're looking to go into the service layer. So this will be the services. And inside of here, we're going to make a new Java class, which is going to be the registration service. At service, require all constructors, because this service layer is now going to have access to the data layer. So we're going to make a private final user profile repository. So this is now going to give us access to our database, or our data layer. So the idea here is that what are we looking to do as a service here? So for our registration, we're looking to take the user credentials, and we're looking to check to see if a username exists by this username. So let's make a public boolean, and we're just simply going to call this user exists, and we're going to take in the user credential DTO, and I'm just going to call this DTO because I am typing that out way too damn much. Alright, so how do we check to see if this user exists? Well, user profile dot find by username dot ignore case DTO dot get username, and now this is going to give us an optional. So basically we want to return if this is or is not present, because simply if the user exists, then the user exists. If it managed to find a profile, then it found a profile. So now if we come back into here, we're looking to have, this is our controller, so now we're looking to have access to our service layer. So private final registration service. So now we're looking to come into here and see if registration service.user exists, user credentials, now we're looking to return Alright, so now if the registration service happens to find a user or somebody exists with this name, then we're going to be returning the text that the user exists, and we're going to return the code already reported, just simply because that's the closest thing to already created. So next, going forward, we know that the user does not exist, and we know that the user credentials are not null, and we do know that the user does not exist. So the next thing that we're looking to do is we are looking to now create a new model, or a model of a user profile. We're going to fill it with some of the information. We're going to hash up or encrypt the password, and then we're going to create a way to save that model into our database layer. But I just need to run to the washroom. I do apologize. Health issues. Alright, so let's go ahead and start out by we're going to create a new model, which is going to be a new user profile. So now set username. This is going to be user credentials dot get username. Set email. User credentials dot get email. Model dot set encrypted password. Bcrypt password encoder dot oh, fuck you. That's another thing we didn't do. What we will do is we do a quick check to make sure that the two passwords match. That is something that we should be doing in a JavaScript before submitting. However, I haven't written that in yet. So for now, we're just going to assume that the passwords are correct. Okay. But this is here how we encrypt it with bcrypt. So next is going to be model dot set created on, and we're going to go with model dot set last updated, which is going to be the model dot get created on. This we had set this set up something similar to this right here. So I'm just going to drop this up here and DFT there. So that's going to set the time, and it's going to create the new model. So now the next thing we need to do, I think that's all the information that's in that model, that's in that user profile. Email, username, password, created on, last updated. Okay. Okay. So next we need to registration service dot save. We're going to call it save. I'm just going to call it save. And pass in the model. After that, we are going to then just return new response entity success. And we'll go ahead and come into here, create this, where we come in and user profile dot save model. Okay. So there. That should take care of the registration. Now when the register button is clicked, it should be sending a post to here, to the new user, which is going to ultimately go through and just having a quick thought here. I don't think this is going to need to be okay. Sorry, I'm just thinking on the fly here. Just trying to have a little think about where exactly I'm putting this. I apologize, I'm like running a bunch of shit through my head at the same time that I'm trying to do this, which is always fun. Alright, so this is posting a new user to the registration, which is just simply going to check to see if the credentials are being passed in. If they're null, we're gonna have to just redirect that. Well, let's see. That's what I'm stuck on. Am I this? Okay. So this is not necessarily going to be a response entity. This is going to be a straight up string. So this is going to redirect it's going to return a redirect to fuck, now I forget how to do redirects. Urgh! Yeah, okay. I think that's what it is. I'm gonna just redirect to this, comma, bad request. And I mean, here's where I could So there we go. Okay, so this is just how we're redoing it now. So now if the object does not return, we're going to be redirecting back to the register page, and we're going to be passing in a parameter called bad request, so that we can tell the user that, hey, you need to fill something out here, or the null, or whatever, just bad request. Next, if the user exists, then we're going to return them back to the same page with a parameter of user exist, where we can give them a little pop-up heads-up notification saying that, sorry, username already taken, try another name, basically. Next, if the two passwords do not match, we will return them with a parameter of pass mismatch. Pass mismatch. There we go. In which case we can tell them that, sorry, the password you entered, the two passwords that you entered do not match. And from there, we're going to assume that everything is in the up and up. So from there, we're going to create a date time formatter, which is going to consist of the year, month, a day, hour, month, second, hour, minute, second. Wow. And this will be to use on the when we create the new user profile. We're going to set the username, set the email address, encrypt said password that is being provided, and then we are going to set the created time, and then we're going to set the last updated to the time of creation. Move along, save it, and from there we are going to return the user to, in this case, right back to the home. So if the user, everything is all good, we're gonna return them back home to the home page, and essentially they should get automatically logged in, but just in case, from there they can go to the login page. So now we need to test this bad boy. Alright, so let's test this bad boy out and see if she works. Looks good at first glance, aside from the fuck, that's gonna irk me. Go to register. I'm gonna say my name is Glabe. Email is going to be glabestudios@outlook. Password, that's the other thing I should be changing on those. Password. Okay, I gotta redo this, sorry. Alright, so we'll try this again. Glabe Studios. Password is going to be try that. Click register. And apparently we're taken to a login page. That's not cool. Why do we go to a login page? Alright, what's going on with this now? Let's try this again. Alright. So register, do this. Okay, try this. Register. Fuck you. Oh, it's the redirects that's screwing me over there. Okay, let's just try. La 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 la. Let's try making this just a straight up controller. Okay, because the redirect part seems to be working. Shouldn't matter, but let's try that. Oh, I hate you. Okay, let's try this. Okay, let's try that, because I might have had that issue. And let's stop this to see, because I don't actually... And I don't have all that data in my fucking handy right now. Okay. Okay, let's double check things. Well, technically, let's just rerun this and see if that works. However, I am curious. Copy. 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 Oh yeah, I need to be turned off for that, right? Okay, so. Two point 1.210. Okay, 2.1.210. Fuck, I forget if that's what I said or not. Oh well. So write format 3 is larger than my format 2. Fuck you. You know what? Don't fucking care. Let's give it a go. Try this again. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Fuck you. Not gonna lie. Confused on that. I'm also confused on this error. Okay, that's... Superior using it with Maven. Yeah, I've got the samples. What did I do wrong? Yeah, I've got that. HTTP security. Oh, you're dicking around. This isn't what I want. I'm not looking for 5.5 though. Can I get out of this? There we go. 6. Actually, what security am I? That kinda looked like it said 3 point. I don't know. 'Cause I'm using Spring Security 6. I just don't know which specific version of 6. Whatever. We're going to 6. Fuck it, I can't even. Web security. Security filter chain. That's what I was looking for. But anyway, CSFR, that's the fucking... okay. So I might have to actually look into something here. Or change this back to the Spring Boot that I'm used to. Well, I'm actually going to call this quits for this live stream for now until I look into this a little more, and we will pick this up on a different night, and I will have a little more planned out, a little more structured out. I do apologize. Yeah, well, so thank you very much for watching. If you've learned something, if you enjoyed the show, please give this a like. If you want more, you can check out my other videos on springing into Java. As well, you can subscribe if you are interested in what's coming up in the future. Thank you very much, and we will